a real dad. Hi, everybody. Yes, welcome to TableTakes. I'm your host for today, Noah. We've got ourselves a fantastic show, as always, and I have a fantastic group of hosts with me here today. So let's just get right into it. Bonsai, how you been? What you been up to?
Well, I've been great. I've been enjoying my advent calendar that I have, which is just like 24 days of me opening up chocolate and eating whatever chocolate's hidden inside the thing. And I'm very excited because it's like a treat every day, every day. And also I'm plotting to make cookies soon, so maybe some people might be getting cookies in the mail very soon. Just saying, hint, hint. So I need addresses. Just saying.
I don't know that I trust you enough to give you my. No, I'm kidding. What kind of chocolate you get today for your advent calendar?
Oh, I got caramel sea salt. Milk chocolate, caramel sea salt. Yesterday I had which is a very dark chocolate milk though. It was dark milk chocolate, and I was like, "What? It's only 52% dark chocolate." And I was like, "Okay, that's okay, but that's still a conundrum. You can't be dark chocolate and milk chocolate at the same time."
All right. And stick with us later for more in-depth chocolate reviews from Bonsai. But next, we've got Javia. How you been this weekend?
I've
Or
been
week.
great.
I'm sorry.
I've been awesome. I've been busy. I'm not addicted to idle games at all. In fact, I can stop anytime I want. I only play them when I need to. In my free time, I don't put things off to play idle games. I only put things on to play idle games. Um, I am playing a game called More Ore. It's a game where you click rocks and it gives you ores that you could spend to build buildings to process more ores. You get the idea? You get the picture?
Yeah.
I'm not
You,
addicted, I
that's why
promise.
you need more ores.
Exactly. I've learned a bunch of rock puns.
Can we get a good rock pun before
I
we see?
thought you'd never ask. Noir,
Mm-hmm.
I liked carbon before it was coal. You know what I mean? Hey, did you ever hear what happened to that rock gambler? He finally hit rock bottom. Hey, I got a question for you, Noir.
Yeah.
Where do rocks sleep? That's right, bedrock. That's my time, everybody. I'll be here all week. You've been lovely. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, look at that. Our viewership just dropped to 0. That's crazy. What do you think happened?
So how was your week, Peter?
Aside from watching Javion do stand-up routines, let's see, what else am I doing? I also have an advent calendar. I got one thanks to Bonsai, who gave me this idea a year ago and then reminded me a year later. I got a wine advent calendar for my lovely wife. And then realizing I was going to be a little bit jealous of her advent calendar, I bought me the same one. So we bought 2 wine-a-day advent calendars, and we've been enjoying them a lot. They're great. They're fantastic. Thank you, Bonsai. I've also been getting ready. I got two, not one, but two Actoroki film shoots next week. So I am deep into pre-production for Actoroki. How about you,
I got
Noir?
I gotta ask, how big is that calendar? Like to
Oh,
hold.
it's huge. It's about the size of the biggest board game box you've ever seen. That's about how big it is.
Oh, so is it just doing like glasses of wine in there, or is it? I was thinking it was doing the whole bottle.
They're like mini bottles like this.
Oh,
They're like,
oh,
I mean, they're
okay.
exactly one glass. Like you could pour them into like a big red wine glass, and it would fill it up almost to the exact right level for a nice full glass of wine.
Oh, that's sleek. Okay, I like that. I like that. But in terms of how have I been?
Yeah.
I've been addicted to Cyberpunk 2077. There's just a major patch, and I've been doing nothing but playing it. I caught the VGAs yesterday, which is the Video Game Awards. Uh, you'll all be excited to know that Baldur's Gate 3 cleaned house. Like it won all the things. And a lot of Spider-Man fanboys are mad right now because they wanted Spider-Man to get an award. It was nominated for 7, but the problem was so was Baldur's Gate. so Baldur's Gate took all of them, and Spider-Man fans are upset about it. But y'all can learn to cope. But since we're on the topic of awards, there's another award that happened fairly recently here, which is the Dice Breakers 2023 Tabletop Award winners. And I thought it might be fun to just kind of go through a couple of the winners. We've talked about some of these throughout the years, or throughout our time here on TableTakes. So let's take a look at one. And the one that I wanted to call out first for no particular reason was Best Ongoing Card Game of the Year, which was Disney Lorcana, the first chapter. I have a lot of feelings about it. The finalists in that category were Flesh and Blood, Bright Lights, Magic the Gathering, The Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle Earth, and Pokemon trading card games, Scarlet and Violet. So Lorcana beat some very heavy competition, and to keep it a whole buck with you, to keep it honest, I don't think they should have got that one. I think it's too early. I don't think they earned it.
Well, how do you explain all the demand? I mean, everybody wants it.
Everybody wants it, but because everybody wants it, who can play it? Like, I want to know, what is this award based on? Is it based on demand, or is it based on people playing it? Because I know that I haven't seen anybody clear out a McDonald's table to play a game of Lorcana. All right. I have bullied people away from their tables to play a game of Magic the Gathering. So I'm a little salty. But best role-playing game was Women Are Werewolves by CAS Taylor and Uniso Julian Kim. Artist Amber Lewis, and publisher Ninth Level Games. It beat Animon Story, Barkeep on the Borderlands, Blade Runner, the role-playing game, Fabula Ultima, Fox Curio's Floating Bookshop, Inc., My Mother's Kitchen, and This Discord Has Ghost in It. All of these are amazing games. Highly recommend them. I've only personally played Fabula Ultima and Blade Runner, and This Discord Has Ghost in It. But I highly recommend checking them out. Have you guys played any of these? Have you had a chance to check out Women Are Werewolves? Also, are women werewolves? I don't know.
I feel like Shakira also said that women were werewolves too, so she wolf in the closet. But definitely watched, haven't played. There, of course, we had like Sarah's table. Sarah's Joyful Gaming has played a lot of sessions of it, so hype to that. If you guys want to see gameplays, we got VODs on our YouTube channel. So things like that. But I will say, I not about the role-playing games, but the card games, I know I've been the most hype man about Lorcana, but also there isn't anybody playing the cards yet because they haven't been distributing it out. There's definitely been people building decks before they have been out, and there's been a hype. You cannot challenge the mouse cult. I'm not part of the cult. I only read the brochures, okay? And I already know. Right.
You are part of the cult, Monza.
I'm not. I only read the brochures. I only read the brochures. I'm not part of the cult.
Calling it.
I went to their open house like twice. That doesn't mean anything.
I meant Joyful Gaming. I don't know why I was saying it the other way. Okay, sorry. Joyful Gaming. Sarah's Joyful Gaming.
Well, I think with Lorcana winning this award, it's fair to say that Lorcana had a very successful launch. And following in that vein, I think we have some news on another launch. Javion, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. You're all excited to hear that the MCDM Productions has finally launched their Kickstarter for the untitled MCDM RPG. I know that you're all excited because currently there are $2 million in their, I believe, second day of being on BackerKit.com, backing them, showing their support and trying to get all of those juicy stretch goals. So for those of you who may not be aware, MCDM, run by Matthew Colville, and the creator of the titular Running the Game YouTube series, trying to get new players of fantasy games to actually play D&D as a DM, has launched their own RPG system, or at least are beginning the process of playtesting by starting this Kickstarter. So if you're a fan of any of the MCDM products, such as Strongholds and Followers, Kingdoms and Warfare, or their excellent magazines that they put out for D&D content, well, get ready for some new stuff, a whole new RPG created by the folks who love D&D and other RPGs as well. So first shout out to MCDM goes to their forward. When you take a look at their backer kit and they tell you about what the game isn't, if you look at their sample pages, they give you examples of what games that they're trying not to emulate, what kind of games they're trying not to pretend to be, and giving you links as well as like recommendations for what you should play if you want that. For instance, if you want a dungeon crawler, they tell you we're not a dungeon crawler, but you should play Shadow Dark if that's what you want. Or we're not a wilderness exploration game, but you should play Forbidden Lands if that's what you want. Like, that's really cool. The MCDM RPG is supposed to be a heroic fantasy game with an emphasis on tactics and cinematics. What that means is you're supposed to be worried about the combat and heavy combat more so than a lot of other aspects to the fantasy RPG, but you're also focused on the heroism of that and making it cinematic, meaning instead of having one person take their turn where they maybe miss, maybe hit, you always hit. You always do some amount of damage. You are always making progress. How you choose to do that centers around your tactics, your teamwork, how you describe what you do to enhance the amount that you're actually able to accomplish. So in the MCDM RPG, we also have a bunch of new heroic classes, separate and completely not copying any names, and I mean this without any sarcasm, of D&D. You've got the Censor, which is all about casting spells and magic using divine seals rather than, the divine magic of just whatever the gods give me, actually placing seals on people. Or you could try out the Fury, whose closest analog is the Barbarian. It's all about rage and fighting with that power and passion, but with more of an emphasis on doing a lot of damage with melee attacks and withstanding punishment without the rage being the core mechanic that takes over. Even though it is called Fury, it has a lot more complexity to it than a regular old barbarian. Or you could try out my favorite class, the Tactician. I'm super excited to try this out because you get to tell all your teammates what to do. You get to make them act faster or take extra turns or empower them to do more in their turn. So you're really just manipulating your teammates on the battlefield. So there's a lot of other cool stuff in this game. I really like that they're going for a completely different overhaul of what fantasy RPGs can be, but they're also not trying to copy paste anything. They're trying to improve on everything. For instance, like I said, you always hit, you always deal damage, right? Another really cool part about the dice rolling and the attack and damage mechanic is that it's all bundled into one, meaning you roll 2d6s, maybe an extra modifier or so. That's your attack to hit and the damage that you deal. So you're improving all of that at once with your abilities instead of, oh, I am improving my attack value and I'm improving my damage value. You do it all at once, which is so cool. I've also never played a game where it always lets you hit always. Like, I can't imagine. I have to find out more about how armor works in this kind of system just to see how they're trying to balance it out. But it definitely seems like they're going to accomplish that cinematic aspect that they're going for. So you could definitely just go ahead and check out the MCDM RPG backer kit right now. As we speak, they've already jumped up 40,000 extra dollars of backers. So definitely check it out. You've got 27 days left on the backer train to hop on. So I don't know if you folks here have actually watched a lot of Matthew Colville stuff. Peter, I've sent you Matthew Colville stuff just to get your opinion on it in the past. It really seems like this is going to be a system that takes us all for a new ride, something fresh. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree, Javion. I think Matthew Colville has got a great thing going. He's just a sharp guy and hangs out with some sharp guys and gals, and they do great stuff. So I think the emphasis of this game really does look fresh. But I think a lot of RPGs have gone more into storytelling, which is great. It feels like he's staying with the roots of old school role playing, which is combat and heroism, but really trying to refine that to make it more interesting without without getting into the super gritty detail of a high, like a really detailed combat simulation of sort of combat system. So I'm very interested in trying it out.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on that. It's kind of been a joke with me and some of the folks that I game with that you can't really recreate Lord of the Rings easily in D&D any longer. Like putting together something like Helm's Deep would take days. So it's very exciting to have a system that's dedicated to bringing that kind of wholesale action and warfare back to the table. So I'm very excited about this.
I will say something for the backer kit. They did a very in-depth video that, if you guys click on it, is a 50-minute long video of really highly detailed explanations of this. And at least for me, it feels very, very 4th edition, which I am happy for. Very 4th edition, very getting back into like Javian was saying, cinematics. Like it's still the grid style, but at least it has the flavor. So when people watch the D&D movie, they can actually go in. They don't have to roll initiatives. You guys kind of like agree who's gonna go first. So you can be like, oh, you have to do this move first, so I can do this move. And you can push things into boxes, and that does more damage. I like the mechanic of push them into things and hurts
Yeah,
more.
I agree. Matthew Colville has said many, many times how he is a big fan of 4th edition and how many influences you can see from 4th edition D&D into this RPG. It's really, really cool. I should also mention that this is not a finished product that you're backing. You're backing it so that you can get in on the playtesting. You're backing it so you can make sure that this comes to life with all the stretch goals. And you're backing it so that you get a copy when it does finally fully release, as well as, all of the MCDM productions, crowdfunding campaigns always give you stuff for backing them beforehand, rather than just saying like trust us and then we'll give it to you once it's finished. So they're going to give you stuff, really cool stuff along the way. I'm so sure of it. Like, especially with some of their other products, they'll give you physical stuff, they'll give you digital stuff to download, something to help you, actually engage with their products, vote for what you want to see as it goes along the campaign. So really, really cool. Huge shout out to Matthew Colville and MCDM Productions and all the crew there. I can't wait to see this fully released.
Awesome. Well, from something that was inspired by D&D to a celebration of the long lifespan of D&D, Bonsai, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how we're celebrating 50 years of D&D?
All right, 50 years, of course. Thank you so much, Noir. Just as Noir say, we're getting into the 50, basically almost 100 years, halfway there. Halfway there in D&D. But thank you. This one was brought to us by a random, or not random, but regular chatter in my channel. Red Chris, thank you for giving me this so I could put it on here. But UPS basically announced, United States Postal Service announced that they're going to be doing in 2024 special edition 50th anniversary stamps, 10 different D&D theme stamps for all of you D&D loving nerds out there. And you want to, if you happen to also collect stamps and love D&D, it's a super win. These stamps are based of course all existing artwork that are, and A lot of them choose very predominant characters, major figures in Forgotten Realms, including Dritz or Driz. Oh god, I get this name. The the Drow's name wrong. Drizzt, Vecna, Bahamut, and Tiamat. If you guys don't know, lots of dragons, lots of awesome things, and also, of course, our most loved drow. Notably, the most iconic, at least for me, stamp that they have available is the original artwork from the 1983's red box of basically D&D red box, facing the fighter, facing the red dragon. Very, very, if you slam that on everything, you're like, that's D&D. So I'm very, very excited about this. What about y'all? How do you feel? I don't mail things often, but I'm gonna probably buy these forever stamps.
I think this is one of the most awesome FUs a game could give to a government. I don't.
The culture.
To a culture. Like, remember the Satanic Panic? Like if you play D&D, you're courting the devil, and now they put it on stamps. The least demonic thing possible.
As the oldest person on this stream, I got painful memories of that whole cultural era you're talking about, and I'm so with you in the more. Thank you for recognizing my pain.
Y'all went through it. Y'all went through it so that we could put D&D on stamps.
Technically, it's legal tender because you can trade stamps in for money. In many cases.
Don't try to use stamps to pay for a drink at the bar.
You can't at my bar. I'll open a bar and you can bring in all the D&D stamps you want to have top shelf scotch.
Now I've got to figure out how to buy stamps. Like I'm one of those millennials.
I know. Are they available now? Like, can I buy them in time for all of our holiday Christmas
available
cards?
Now. They're going to be for 2024, so probably January 2024 is when they're going to be like just as first of the year, putting it out.
I could buy a bunch of them in January and save them for holiday cards next year.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Just in time for the 50th anniversary. You'd be like, aha.
Yeah. I gotta look up how much stamps are. I literally know nothing about stamps.
It's a pain. It's a huge pain to get them. That's why podcasters are always, trying to get you to sign up with their promo code to get some stamps easier.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I don't even know where my nearest post office is. All right, well, thank you again, Bonsai, for this story. From talking about the past of D&D into talking about the future, well, let's talk about what D&D is going to look like in 2024.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Or you know what? Or we can talk about the original D&D, because I totally just skipped the headline. Peter, please take us to the original D&D, 1970 1976. Oh boy.
I mean, D&D is so multi-generational now. You're just going back and forth in time. You're just like, I can't even keep up with it. I know how you feel. All right, we got a great article about history of D&D. This feature is brought to us by Chase Carter at Dicebreaker. Thank you, Chase. Okay, so now most tabletop role players are familiar with the origin story of Dungeons & Dragons and its two co-creators, Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, even if only in loose terms. A new historical book documenting the first 6 years of D&D's histories claims to dive deep into that period, including previously unpublished letters between Gygax and Arneson. The making of original Dungeons & Dragons, 1970 to 1976, was revealed during a PAX Unplugged panel hosted by game design architects Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins, along with senior designers Amanda Hammond and James Wyatt. Amongst new D&D 2024 core book details and several upcoming adventure supplements, this 500-page tome stands out. It's not a playable module or a rule book, but instead an annotated collection of artifacts, correspondence, and design work that would eventually create the most popular and successful RPG of all time. Hammond described the making of original Dungeons and Dragons 1970-1976 as a retrospective historical account of the original D&D, and it contains illustrations and notations from the original RPG manuscript. Perkins called it a replica of the original D&D manual, complete with footnotes, edit lines, and original scans wherever possible. Publisher, Wizards of the Coast, hired game historian John Peterson to help research and collate the information. Peterson has published several books on the history and design of D&D. I recommend all of these, by the way, including Playing at the World, The Elusive Shift, How Role-Playing Games Forge Their Identity, my favorite, Game Wizards, also by Gygax and Arneson, Heroes Feast 1 and Heroes Feast 2, and Dungeons and Dragons Art and Arcana. The biggest draw of this historical perspective and chronicle about the origins of the game, as Perkins characterized it, will be the inclusion of letters shared between Gygax and Arneson while both of them were playtesting the system that would eventually become Dungeons and Dragons' first incarnation. The panelists claimed these correspondences have never been seen by the public, so it remains a mystery what insights they will provide. The designers famously collaborated by combining Arneson's Blackmoor setting with Gygax's Greyhawk setting, talking by mail and phone to synthesize the rules and world building into something they could publish. Alongside the annotations and historical context, the making of original Dungeons & Dragons 1970-1976 will essentially reproduce a replica of the original D&D manuscript. Random tables, illustrations, type font, layout, and all. No release date was provided by the panel beyond a general 2024 expectation. Wizards of the Coast is still working on an as yet untitled D&D documentary with Joe Manganiello as the director's chair. Oh yeah, this sounds great. Can't wait.
I'm wondering if it's being called The Making of D&D 1970 to 1976 because they intend to continue the series to show what D&D, how like the process of D&D being made beyond that. I think that might be interesting.
Yeah, well, I think especially the wrong about 1997, it gets really good.
You know, I've heard some things. I heard they had some real talent back then.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Who can predict? Who can foresee the future?
No, I know that I am extraordinarily eager to get my hands on this book to just to see what it was like. I mean, for them to design a game without the benefit of having a game to emulate or model it off of. But what do you guys think?
I like the idea of it's like I love the 90s flashback, but it's in chunks, you know? That's why when you said that, I was like, oh, it's gonna be I love D&D 1976 or something like that. It's gonna have a jingle and everything. But yeah, no, I like that idea. And it also, I guess it's not going to be probably put in there, but I kind of wonder if they, like, with this, did they edit out some of, like, the headbutting or tea between the two designers when they're designing this? I kind of want to know if there's, like, a little, like, can we sneak peek some drama just for funsies? Like, no, we can't have this creature here because it doesn't seem realistic. And why do hags have to reproduce like this? By the way, don't ever look up how hags reproduce in D&D. It's terrifying.
Great. Now all I'm gonna think about is how hags reproduce. But you know what? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'm really bad at trivia, and it really seems to me like people who read are super good at trivia, and it's probably books like this is probably like the reason why they're so good at trivia, because they read stuff about like the history of this and that, of obscure topics and things like that, you know? So yeah, maybe I'll crack it open, kick back, and, you know, arm myself with the knowledge to defeat my opponents in trivia battles.
I looked up how hags reproduce, so
Oh no.
I told you not to, and you did. Why?
So we're just gonna move on to the next headline if that's all the same to everybody else. I usually try to do a fun little segue, but I've learned things. So
That's you, Noir. You're the next headline.
I know. I'm trying to get it together.
Look forward to the future here with Noir.
Yes, thank you. God, why? Why is that the lore? Dungeons and Dragons in 2024 Also, first off, we want to give a shout out to Chase Carter over at Dicebreaker for this story. Dungeons and Dragons 2024 is going to cram its books full of art, fantasy shopping, and the blob of annihilation. I'm sorry, I get to say such fun words at this job. Um, so, during four stewards of Dungeons and Dragons recently held a PAX Unplugged panel to discuss the future of the ultra popular tabletop RPG, specifically discussing the triumvirate of core rulebooks that will shepherd players into the 2024 era. Bigger, better, and meaner, these books sound as though they take a maximalist approach to table side player aids. And I, for one, am very excited about this. The 5th edition core rule books are not some of my favorites. I come from the era, like I started playing at 3.5, and if there's one thing that 3.5 did right, is they gave you all the information.
That's
Chris,
right. Baby.
yeah,
That's right, baby.
They just slapped, like, I still remember the weapons chart. Look, I'm going to gush about 3.5, so I'm going to stop. Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford, trusted faces of the D&D project, joined senior designers Amanda Hammond and James Wyatt on December 1st to host a panel that spent a good chunk of its time discussing the exemplary supplements from the tabletop RPG's past. D&D is celebrating its 50th anniversary in 2024, which meant that the panelists left plenty of time to dive into the future, namely what players can expect from the newest Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual. Perkins effusively praised how the team laid out the 12 player classes in the new Player's Handbook, with each section starting with a new full-page piece of artwork, which is going to be very cool to get an example of what these classes look like in the imagination of the designers. And the Monster Manual fans should prepare themselves for a glut of new information in 2024's Almanac of Threats, which is going to stuff 500 separate entries between its covers, including more high challenge rating monsters for players nearing max level. This is just a quick aside before I pass it on to all of you for your thoughts. Fix the challenge rating system, please. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So please make sure that you fix that. That's just one GM begging a publishing house, fix it, make it work. But it sounds like these books are going to be revamped, filled to the brim with artwork and lots of cool new information. What do you all think? What are your hopes, and what do you hope that they put in the book or take out?
Fixing the challenge rating is simple, Nora. You just take all the challenge rating numbers and divide them by 2.
I feel like I might have the opposite problem if I do. My problem now is that the party just wipes out whatever the book says is a challenge. If I do the divide by 2, they're getting crushed.
It's not so bad. School of Hard Knocks. They teach them how to, like, to survive that sort of challenge rating. They'll be such great players. They'll learn to love you. They will appreciate it.
You know what? I might give that a try. We're gonna give that a swing. I'll let my players know you see Justin.
Yeah, trust me.
Take it divided by 2. Oof.
What about you, Jamie Bonsai? What do you think?
It really seems like with the the redesign and everything, they're going to have the campaign setting be a little bit easier to like parse through. That was my main problem. That's the reason. That's the whole reason throughout the whole quarantine I made my own like world, and I spent all that time just like on World Anvil, just like typing stuff up. Was because I didn't want to like read a ton of stuff that was spread out in different areas about the Forgotten Realms, from edition to edition, from book to book. So hopefully, I mean, it sounds like they're reorganizing it so that it's a little bit easier to use at the table. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
World building's the best part, Javion. So yeah, good on you, man. Just build those worlds. That's
yeah,
the way
absolutely. But I also want to know what my players are talking about when like we talk about other things that everybody else is doing in the other games. I want to be able to like join in on those conversations and know what is Forgotten Realms.
The only thing I have is that they're saying upgrade, all this kind of stuff, but not calling it what it is. We all know what it is. You're just not putting a word to it. It is gosh darn 6th edition. They're like, oh, we're gonna revamp this. It's gonna be a new upgrade. It's 6th edition, and they just
At least name it 5.5. Like 3.5 was brave enough to go. We're not 4th edition, but we're not 3rd edition. We're somewhere nicely in the middle. 5.5. Give it to me.
You're going for the point. Well, I guess I will make an addition for 5.5, but you all know it's something else. It's something else. They can't just say upgrade. They have to put a number by it.
If you're looking for more info, so you can also participate in the Edition Wars, to bring it back to Matthew Colville, made a great video on his YouTube channel about reasons behind different editions from like 1st edition to advanced and so on, and like all the different like turmoil that happened in it. Really cool video. Definitely check that out.
Heck yeah. But I think we've kind of gone through everything that we can in regards to D&D. So why don't we take a step back and let's mind map our way through some vampires. That was a terrible segue. Javion, save me.
Thanks, Nor. That was great. Hachette Board Games has revealed 2 more titles. So if you've heard of some of Hachette's other games like Just One, you're probably as excited as I am to hear that they are revealing a couple more titles into their repertoire. The first is a party game by Sorry We Are French and Funny Fox. 2 very funny names. The game Mind Map is a game about guessing words, similar in concept to Just One, but far more challenging, if you ask me. The game can play up to 14 players in either teams or a giant competitive mode. And the idea is that you're trying to guess the most of your opponent's words. You're not really trying to guess what word they're hiding so much as who has which word based off of where they place this token on a giant graph. So if you are a math nerd like me and a word nerd like me, this game seems like it's right up your alley. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes. It's only going to retail for $21.99, so pretty cheap as far as, some of the newer games go these days. And also, a little friendly competition with some guessing. What could go wrong? And the second game we have here is called Vampire Village. This one comes to us from Studio H. It's a dual drafting game. That's dual spelled with an A, meaning that there are 2 phases of drafting that happen. First, you're setting up your village and you're fortifying it because you know that there are creatures of the night out to get you. It's sort of tower defense-ish, kind of. You're drafting your cards to build up your village, and then in the second phase of the 2 rounds of the game, you draft cards to destroy the other villages. So you're trying to hand out zombies to your neighbors that will target their weaknesses in their village and destroy as many of their villagers with vampires as possible. And whoever has the most survivors and surviving buildings by the end of the game wins. It's really cute. It only plays 20 minutes, but it can play up to 5 players. And, I love that you can sort of have this like neighbor like antagonism of just like sending things to them. So they know exactly who to blame. But it's not so antagonistic as to be like, I'm going to take your cards, or I'm going to put this thing so you can't use that. It's a little bit more of like, you didn't build your building to withstand a vampire that can walk through walls. So sorry, you're out of luck. Vampire Village will retail for $24.99 and is slated to arrive in March 2024. So look forward to 2 brand new games hitting the game shelves in just a few months. Any of these games sound appealing to y'all?
Vampire Village sounds interesting.
Mine's all about the mind because my brain. I don't know if you guys. Well, yeah, of course you've had conversations with me before. It goes pum, 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 pum. So I probably will do the best at the game that makes you think squirrel.
Can you tell us again what your brain does? I missed
Pum, pum,
it.
pum, 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 pum.
Okay, I just want to check. All right,
Yes.
cool. No, but these both sound interesting. I kind of want to get my hands on them first. I can't get a good picture of like how I would take to it until I start fiddling around with it. But you got any thoughts on it, Peter?
Neither one of these really sound like my cup of tea.
Fair enough.
I
We've seen
feel
what
that.
kind of games you like, Peter.
I like role-playing games, and I like more complex board games. These, I dual drafting maybe. I don't know. Maybe drafting game could be good.
Not
You can't
enough civilization and colonization in it for you, Peter.
I know exactly. Not
You
enough of
can't
that.
spread the good word of hockey in either one of these
That's
games.
right.
Hockey?
Peter's taking over the world with hockey. You got to check it out.
That's right. I did it.
But you know what? There's one thing I can tell you for sure about these two games is that they'll probably be available. Unlike I'm just kidding. Nothing but love to Lurkanas. Bonsai, tell us all about it.
Oh yeah. No worries. Let me just. I'm just playing with these dice randomly for no reason. For you, Noir. Oh, so nice. Anywho, never mind about those dice. On another segment, Lorcana. Thank you to Charlie Hall at Polygon for this announcement. I know you guys have you're like, oh, Bonsai's here. She must be talking about Lorcana. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to keep force feeding you Lorcana as much as possible. I like I said, I'm not part of the Disney cult. I just admire the brochures. I just really like the brochures. Anywho, so there's been a Ravensburg announced that its next Lorcana expansion is out, called Into the Inklands, which, if you just tell by the wording and the title alone, is very adventure pulp theme, like like Indiana Jones kind of thing. In addition to the basic sets, Ravensburger also introduced some more adventure-focused Disney characters. Basically, they're going to have DuckTales, Tailspin, and Treasure Planet. And if that doesn't get you hooked on the new cards, I don't know what else will. Some of the cards design that they have features everybody like in very explorer type explorer S type outfits, and mountain climbing and all kinds of good stuff. This set will also feature a new style of card, which is called locations. Locations will function sort of like enchantments in Magic, and not like realms at all. They just, certain cards do special things when there is a like these locations are put down. It will have to see how they do with that. In another note, I remember last week I was kind of like I was very much complaining how friendly local gaming stores weren't getting cards, and it seemed like the mega brands were being prioritized. They specifically made note that for these cards, especially for the Into the Inklands, they're going to give the local gaming stores like 2 weeks ahead of the big brands. So as they say, we'll see how it is in terms of if they put their mouth where their money where their mouth is. I think that's the same, money where their mouth is. That they'll get it on February 23rd, 2 weeks ahead of the big stores, which are releasing all of these sets on March 8th. Also, as another note, they are going to be doing a third cycle, not just one, not just two, but a third cycle of the first chapter, that is set to release on December 22nd. So hopefully people can get booster packs and have them not sold out in the store within an hour, not saying something, but saying something. That's all.
Thank you for your thoughts. You're totally in the cult, just so you know.
Brochures.
Congratulations to our producer, Marcus, who is very excited to see that DuckTales is included in this expansion.
Yeah, I'm excited about DuckTales, but honestly, I want Darkwing Duck. Let's make it happen. Darkwing Duck is better.
If Tailspin is there, they're probably no, Tailspin. DuckTales, well, there may be a chance.
I want Darkwing Duck. But that's just me. You can't always get what you want. You can try sometimes. That was a terrible segue. What we are going to talk about is another brand, maybe one that can go toe to toe with Disney. My Little Pony. Peter, you got any news for us?
Well, if not toe to toe, maybe hoof to hoof. Who knows?
Hey!
The My Little Pony RPG. Okay, this feature is brought to us by Jeffrey Dome Sanchez of ICV2 because he's a big fan of My Little Pony. I'm pretty sure. Renegade Game Studios has announced 2 new releases for the My Little Pony RPG. First, Dark Skies over Equestria, a new My Little Pony RPG adventure series book, will hit retail in January. That's next month, 2024. The shadows have begun to consume Equestria, and the new threat of mysterious changelings have arrived. The ponies must thwart Queen Chrysalis' plot and protect Ponyville from the expanding shadows in this 6-part adventure campaign. This campaign features new threats and monsters to overcome, as well as full details on the changeling character archetype. The adventure is recommended for 4 to 6 players of level 1 to 5 and age 1 to 5. Sorry. Story of the season coming in March will be an adventure source book with 4 seasonal adventures set in the My Little Pony RPG setting, Equestria, along with a variety of source material. The source material will include rules for downtime, details on festivals of Equestria, and the Gazetteer featuring Ponyville's most exciting locations. Not Lorcana-ations, locations. There are also rules for playing a new creature type, Griffins. Woo! The adventures are for characters of any level, and the book provides 12 story seeds for future adventures in Equestria.
Peter, have you played My Little Pony RPG before?
No, I have not played Pony RPG, but I used to publish Bellicera, which was a rivalry. It was a girls' horse product. And so I think it's kind of funny. Anytime you see a My Little Pony thing come up, I grab it, and just because I spent a lot of time marketing to little girls in like a segment of my life, so I have a soft spot for it.
Yeah, as much as I think it would be funny to watch this being played, I could see it actually ending up being compelling. Just because games like this tend to become compelling, no matter how much you try to come into it with a troll mentality. So I'm eager to see this in action. Somebody set up a My Little Pony actual play already. I want to see it happen.
Nora, I have to say, like, playing MLP, but like as a troll, actually gets me more excited to try it out. Like I would like as a bit, yeah. I would totally play like MLP RPG if you told me it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, just for the bit, just for the bit. Okay, yeah, sure. That's just the troll the people who really like the game, and then I'll actually enjoy it, and then I'll be happily surprised.
What would your pony name be? What's your inner pony?
Oh God. I've always liked the name Noir Enigma. I think that sounds like an MLP name. I'm gonna go with that.
That sounds like a dope pony name, no lie. Like,
I want to play Bonsai. I'm gonna play Bonsai.
I'll be Davion. All right.
Okay, I get Peter then. I'm playing Peter.
A pony named Peter.
Peter the pony.
Let's go on to the next feature. Next article. Next article.
Well, speaking of actual plays, our next topic on Shadowrun, we actually have actual play for them right here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Catalyst and Shadowrun?
Well, there's really not that much to talk about here, unfortunately, but it's a fun little announcement. Catalyst Games, just like basically over the weekend, was like, hey, guess what? You like the old Shadowrun first edition book for the 35th anniversary? Well, guess what? Since D&D is doing their 50th anniversary, we're just going to slap down 35. We got 35 years under our belt. And they're doing a full reprint of the Shadowrun first edition book. It looks exactly the same like the first edition books. The only difference is instead of the FASA logo, FASA logo right there, they have Catalyst games. It's kind of fun. They announced it on Twitter and people are like, oh, like this book. And a lot of people are taking selfies with their old Shadowrun first edition. But yeah, no, that's basically it. And it's fun, especially if you want to be one of those people who have like a physical copy of those old books you can't get a hold of anymore.
That's awesome. I love older books being restored and made available. You hate to see that stuff lost in time. But that's gonna be it for our headlines. We've covered a lot of D&D, a lot of Lorcana, but now we move on to the court, the crowdfunder court.
Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All right, court is now in session.
All right, and so we are starting with you, Javion. What will you be submitting to the court today?
Sorry, I had to put another horse pun in to chat because Cranston snored, and I have been going back and forth, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Okay, anyway, yes, crowdfunding, right? Oh gosh, let me grab my briefcase full of papers. Oh geez, Star Realms. Ah, yes, Star Realms, the Deluxe Colonial Collection. Yes, for the refined card game connoisseur. Deck building at its finest. A beautiful, portable, all foil Star Realms collection. With all of its holographic glory, the Deluxe Colonial Collection is the perfect addition to any bookshelf, unless that bookshelf just so happens to be very small, because this is quite the large, ultimate edition of collecting all of the Star Realms deck building game cards. That means tons of dividers, foam blocks, and a bunch of extra storage space for your cards. It's got a huge tray, some score dials, and you can even get the game board where you can lay out the market of cards before you purchase them. For folks who maybe haven't played Star Realms before, it's a deck building game where you compete against other players. You pick up ships, you buy new cards, and then you try to destroy each other. It's great fun, and it's also just Hero Realms, but in space. Actually, I think Star Realms might have been first. So, this is the ultimate collection. It's the best time to jump in on the rewards. So grab yours before the crowdfunding campaign ends. It's got 6 days left to go, and it's, like I said, a great way to contain all of your Star Realms collections, and it even fits all the sleeved cards as well. Get yours today before it's too late.
Heck yeah, that looks like quite the collection. You always bring like the big collections of like whole complete games. I like it. Last time it was all of the Adventure Time games, and now it's this. It's cool. That said, we've got another offering by one Bonsai. Let's hear what you have for us.
You like large things? I got some large things for you. Large foam dice ends in 8 days, Saturday, December 16th. There's not much to say if you're really into like having large, like rollable dice. So from the same creators of Owlpush, this little cute little guy. Just think of a D20 that is around the same size, so about 8 to 9 inches in diameter. It's on backer kit, and it is $20. All right, like I could buy a single like really really nice like dice that is like made out of wood or rock that like for way more expensive than $20. But this one, it's nice. It's a foam like a foam dice that you don't have to worry if you chuck it at kids. I mean, not that you would chuck it at kids, but you wouldn't have to worry. It's $20, and I already backed it. And I'm excited to see if they do expansions for it.
Thank you, Bonsai. And we're gonna have to have a conversation with HR after that intro.
Expansions for foam dice. Isn't that the opposite of what you want? You don't want your dice blowing up.
Bad news. Bonsai is head of HR.
Oh crap!
Wait, when did I get more jobs? I got more jobs.
And we have one final offering for us today. Peter, if you could take it away, please.
Yes, by all means. Okay, so I'm very excited about this game. It's called Undergrove. It's being published by AEG. So I've got friends there. I love their work. Undergrove is a new board game with Elizabeth Hargrave, the designer of Wingspan, with co-designer Mark Wooten. Fair warning, this crowdfunding campaign ends in about an hour. So about an hour after our show today. So if this sounds like your jam, you'll want to jump right on it. They've raised, it's on Kickstarter. They've raised $615,000. The theme of this game is the symbiotic relationship between trees and fungi. In this game, you will play a mature Douglas fir tree in the Pacific Northwest of North America. Woohoo! I might know this tree. Your goal is to establish seedlings and help them successfully grow into trees, but you do that by planting yourself near the right mushrooms and cultivate the right mushroom relationships and get that whole thing going. The game includes seedlings and roots and tree tokens, not actual roots, root tokens. There we go. Activation tokens, player boards, goal cards, mushroom tiles, and etc. And it also includes a micro expansion called Whispering Woods with even more tiles. So if you like taking mushrooms out in the forest, this might be just the game for you. Wait a minute. That came out wrong.
I like it. These have been all great offerings, but sadly, someone must die. And the person that I choose is whoever is that wizard making decisions on the paladin class for the new upgrade. I'm coming for you. That being said, that's been our show for today. And Peter, if I could beg you to take it away for us.
You got it. Okay, yes, this includes an amazing episode of TableTakes. But don't go far, because in just a couple of hours, we have Sarah's Table, where Sarah will steer a group of time-traveling ghosts through a Christmas timeline to save Scrooge and stop the apocalypse in Last Christmas. On Peter vs. Machine, I will play Concordia, this excellent board game of trade, exploration, and appeasing the gods of ancient Rome. That'll be Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Astute viewers might notice that we did not have an episode of Board Games with the Brothers Murph last week. I'm sad to report the bros will no longer be having a show on Gen Con TV. I hope you will continue to watch them on their own channel, and we want to publicly say thank you to Mike and Nick for bringing us a great show for so many years. In Indie by Night, the coterie deals with the Baron of Bloomington, who was watching over Eva's apartment when she was mortal. Punches begin to fly when he brings out the claws and says, "That's enough." Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. On Path of the Brush, Rick Ankney takes on minis from the game Senjutsu Battle for Japan by Lucky Duck Games, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. There will not be an Actoroki stream next week due to scheduling constraints. We're having to use the studio Wednesday night for filming live action shoot. First time in almost a year. All right, very excited about that, but sorry, no show. We will be back 2 weeks from now, though. In Shadowrun Emerald Glitch, will the runners finally escape the elven territory of Terngere? Find out this Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Roll with Rem Alternus. Friday, 2 p.m. next week. Literally 1 week, less 1 hour from now, we'll be back here for TableTakes. I want to thank the Gen Con TV crew, Marcus Mace, Steve Connard, Sarah Moore, Tanel Lovett. I want to thank my delightful co-hosts, Javion, Bonsai Baby, and the Noir Enigma. But thanks most of all to you for watching and hanging out with us in chat. Remember, follow Gen Con TV for more of the 4 best days in gaming all year long, right here on twitch.tv/GenConTV. And by the way, I mean, by follow, I mean, click on the follow button. Please, please, please. Thank you. All right, that's it. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.